I'm excited to talk to Tamara Parraguez today. Tamara, welcome to She Can. You're the founder and CEO of Love and Fear, which is a brand and design agency where you have global collaborators bring humanity to brands. You're also a mentor and ally at Be Visioners, the Mercedes-Benz Fellowship, which is a global fellowship that equips innovators between the ages of 16 to 28 with the training, expert support, and resources to bring planet positive brands or projects to life. Tamara, tell us a bit more about your journey and how you feel, how you got to where you are today. So the sort of pivotal points along your journey.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so glad to have this conversation with you. Oh, my journey. It's a very weird and bumpy one, I would say. Um, I never thought I wanted to become a designer. That's thing number one. I always thought as a teenager I would go maybe into a more traditional path, engineering
Mm.
or maybe architecture or something like that. I've always been related to like art in general, even if it's painting or dancing. I was ballet dancer for a long time back
Wow.
in the day. Um, and once I had like the chance to figure out like, okay, time's up, I need to choose something. I got a wonderful tour on one of the chilling universities I visited just to scout my options.
Mm.
And they had a very an integral designers program, which is a little bit kind of like the Bauhaus. You didn't have to choose specifically what you wanted, and it was like, oh, okay, this seems like what I need right now, like a broad perspective on something that I'm just getting in to discover it. To make the long story very short, I loved it. I was like very diverse in my education. I was like from graphics into fashion. I did a lot of complementary courses in filmmaking, aesthetics, writing. Like I literally loved it. I was trying kind of like to see how an ensemble together. After that, I went through communications agencies. I was 10 years in advertising. I learned a lot about myself and about the business and also about like what I really wanted to do. And maybe sometimes what I wasn't pursuing exactly. Um, I've also taken trips. Traveling has been one of my best schools, not just in life, but professionally. So I moved to Italy for about a year. Then I came back. I work in corporate. Pandemic hit. I was also kind of like going through it, as many people, with a lot of self-evaluation and what did I wanted to pursue in the next chapter of my life. And just when I decided just to make a pause, just to figure it out, uh, a lot of people started calling me if I could do freelancing work. So I started working as a freelance brand consultant in a more strategic perspective, not just as a communication designer or just like being on the visuals. And then suddenly someone knocked on my LinkedIn with a great opportunity that it was to go and study in London a design leadership program with 30 other fellows from around the world. I got accepted, and even though I was hesitant, because for whoever's listening today, I come from the last country you will find on the map, which is Chile. It's like very, very, very down there. And I was like, why do they want someone like I didn't thought about myself, like as a leader or as like any reference on the design map. But apparently they saw something in me and they offered me this opportunity. It was the greatest year of my life so far. And it's where this journey of today, love and fear, only exists because I was able to be there and meet the
Mm.
amazing people I met there and kind of like infuse my potential with all these wonderful insights.
Tamara, and you explained to me this earlier. So the Future London Academy asked you,
Mhm,
together with other people, to come up with a leadership program for
mhm,
their sort of um, MBA for creative people, right? So
Hmm.
tell us more about that. You do a lot of mentoring, you're an ally. Tell us a bit more about that year where you found a lot of collaborators, global collaborators with whom you work now for your agency Love and Fear. How how was that year? What it opened a lot of doors for you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think the first door it opened, it was the door of self-confidence, kind of like
Mm,
just believing that I could be part of like a bigger yard.
yeah,
That my little garden, it was good, it was cozy, it was fine, but I could also dream bigger.
yeah.
And this was just, thank you, like great teachers, amazing, but also the court. Everyone who was in that room came from different cultures and part of the planet. And everyone was just like at a different state of their careers, but with a lot of wisdom
Mm,
and a lot of generosity as well.
mm,
Um, they were like the foundation stone of my journey as an entrepreneur and as a founder, and I'm becoming a CEO into my own company, etc. But that program, it really transformed my mindset from one place to another. And it was beautiful because it was in the same path of a career that I already loved. But I was questioning myself if I wanted to stay in design before the
mm, mm.
program. And this was kind of like everything I needed to double check in my mind that this is the right path for me. This is what I believe. This is what I can actually put all my talents at service, not just for brands, but for people.
Yeah,
And in here's where mentorship comes in. Because every client, every brand, every person, every colleague has given me great lessons about why we do what we do and what's the impact that sometimes it looks invisible, but it's in the daily lives of people after all, you know?
yeah,
So this year I have the opportunity to be part of this alliance with Mercedes-Benz and their program for young talents and beautifully matchmaking done. They have signed me up with a mentee also from Chile. He's a young architect
hmm,
who wants to put sustainable architecture in the map from South America to the rest of the region. And I feel it's a great opportunity also to pay back.
yeah,
When I was young, I would love to have more access to not just talent per se, but like to someone that who could guide us with a vision or teach us how to create a vision and start building from there.
yeah,
My role in here is to help my mentee from the brand perspective and how to build a business as a brand as well.
yeah.
They also have other mentors in finance,
Mm,
other in kind of like raising capital. They have a very complete program.
yeah,
But I love that they're including brand in here. Because for me, brand today, it's it's a key it's a key element for any business.
it
Doesn't matter
is.
if you're like a one solo business, if you're like a multinational company, it doesn't matter if you're selling something physical in a little place, in a little town, or you're sending people out in space. Brand is the way you connect with people and your audiences. So basically, that's what's fueled your business to grow or not.
Yeah,
So happy to kind of like finally, after 16, 17 years of journey, kind of like seeing all materialize in a method and in a vision that I can share with mentees, but also with my clients.
amazing, Tamara. And I feel that we have our personal brands, right? How do we show up in the world? And then we have brands that are businesses or ventures. Some are non-for-profit, many are for-profit. So give us a little bit your lessons learned, Tamara, your tips on building a brand from scratch. What are your top tips for people that are listening?
I would say I would sum it up in three main tips that I can share today. First, set yourself from 1 to 3 main goals that you want to achieve. Hopefully, 3 of them need to be medium or long term. Okay. Don't just plan short term because that kind of like it cuts your vision. And if you don't have a vision, it's really hard to build what people are looking for today in connecting with brands or anything, like even among people. Okay. So first, work on your goals. Like without a goal, we don't have a north. Where are we going? Okay. So we need to find that. And that will also feed your purpose as well. Second, I would tell you don't leave brand for later. This is because I see this in new business all the time. We have our business models, we have our financial plans. This is our plan for raising capital, or this is like self finance, and this is the entire money that I have. It's all very clear. And suddenly, maybe in year 2 or year 3, it's like, oh yeah, we needed more than a logo that probably you just downloaded somewhere that's very generic. And they're wondering why it's so hard to retain customers. And they're also wondering why it's so hard to be in the top of their mind and in markets that they want to participate.
Mm.
And it's basically because you have left brand for last.
Yeah.
So if you're building anything today, it has to be simultaneously. So take all your frameworks and match it up with a brand strategy. And when I mean brand, I mean more than visuals. You need to see your business as if it's also a person. If you're a founder, of course, you need to work on your personal brand, and we can address that topic maybe in the next question. But you also need to consider your business from a brand perspective as an individual. You know, what are the differentiators, attributes that you are going to share with your audience? How, if you're coming to, I always say this to my clients, if you're coming to a party, someone invited you to a party and you show up, people don't know you there. What's the first impression they're going to get from you? Are you an extrovert brand? Are you more of an introvert? Are you more like shiny, or you would like maybe just to blend in, which it's okay because sometimes everyone thinks everyone should stand out.
Yeah.
And there's a community for everyone. There's a lot of people who feel good in like not like attracting attention, but belonging in a quieter mode. So this is why having a brand strategy is so important because it gives shape in how you're going to put your business out there. The first 3 things people are going to feel about your brand. And then you can go into more tactical stuff and more marketing. But I would say anything that requires like a budget of permanent investment, if you don't have a strong foundation, it's just gonna go like it has a hype and then it drops, and then it has another hype and then it drops. And it's not consistent. And that would definitely hurt your business. And my last advice, it would be more intentional. We are facing a time where we were told to believe that more and more is better because everyone is doing it. You cannot stay out of it, and you need to create like a bunch of content without like the proper intention of it. So I would say today, better and more intentional is 100 times better than just be there for the sake of being there and like having empty content. So if you have limited resources, just map out all the ideas that you have and start by one, but try to make it as valuable as possible. If you only have time to create a podcast, just create one and like focus just on that, and then share in as many places as you can. But don't try to do 4 things in a very flat and like template way that it doesn't really show who you are, just because you feel everyone says you need to be creating in all these platforms at the same time.
Yeah. That's excellent advice, Tamara. Yeah. I've been thinking about what I'm doing, and I was thinking I need to rethink. Tamara, you talk about emotions run the world a lot and how the
Mhm,
brand is not just the visual, right? So it's not just
mhm,
a logo. It's not just
mhm,
about the logo, a brand agency, and you do much more than that. So talk to us a little bit about the process. Someone rings you up and says, I've got this idea, right? Could be
mhm,
a product. Let's assume it's a product or a
mhm.
service. How do you start your relationship?
Uh, I will definitely start my relationship with I want to learn why are you doing this in the first place?
Mm,
Okay. What's where's the reason behind your product? Okay. Because that's the only way I will be able to figure out who is your audience. Because sometimes clients come and it's like, this is my product, this is my audience. It's like if everything fits perfect in that Excel sheet, it looks beautifully. But then there's like no purpose behind why your product is existing. So then we discover that we thought this was the audience and it's described in a very demographic way. But when we try to like dig deeper, it's like, oh, it turned out it was this other group of people. And actually, for them to get to know your product and really kind of like connect somehow, we need to figure out who these people is beyond the demographics.
mm,
Like, where do they live? Like, what time do they wake up? How do they like their coffee? Are they coffee drinkers? Maybe they like tea. Like how is a group of people? Are they part of a community or they're more lonely people? Like who are they and what moves them? Because the only way you're gonna create like a very strong connection with your audience is if you can understand their emotional landscape. And that emotional landscape, you can start reading it in the way that they live, in their lifestyle, on the daily habits. In the book they're choosing in the bookstore instead of the other. Um, every little sign will tell us a little bit more about them. So then you can double check if your product is matching, you know, how they are choosing. Because we all tend to believe that we are very rational people. You know, we make the smarter decision because I'm very rational and I read all the reviews and I did my research and everything. But at the end of the day, every human being alive in the planet today, it's an emotional being. And all the decisions that we are faced, like small or big, like it could be what I'm having for lunch or who am I getting married with, it it's laid upon an emotional reason.
mm.
And that's our core. Like people do something because you love it or because you're afraid of it. If we need to kind of like simplify it to the minimum. And we just added like we like to understand all the spectrum of emotions between love and fear. So we can understand how can we place your brand in that map of emotions and create that bridge with the people that you're looking for.
Hence the name of your agency, Tamara, Love and Fear. So tell us a little bit more about sort of tips you would have for personal brands. Now, in this day and age, most people setting up anything have to be a face of a brand, at least at the
Mhm,
beginning. And so that's a real hurdle. And I feel I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and that's always a massive stepping stone. They think, oh, but
yeah.
and I find it challenging. I really find it challenging as well. I'm recording so many interviews every day and I
Mhm.
am used to being on screen now. But when I just need to record things the whole time to be sort of the face of She Can and explain what we're doing, it's actually harder than you think. So what are your
Oh,
tips?
I feel you 100%. I mean, I've lived the journey myself. I never thought I was gonna make peace with the fact of being in front of a screen more times than I wish I had to. And one thing that I have learned and that I also see with my clients is that we all need to find our own way, our own journey in how to create your personal brand. I don't think everyone should be like on video if that really, really, really is not it's not your arena. It's not where you excel. It's for some people, it's the opposite. It brings down your light. So if that's the case, I would say step one in your personal brand journey, it's to know yourself. You need to do that homework. You need to know what are your strengths, like where it's like things that put you in a hard position or makes you uncomfortable. What are the topics that you master and what you have to learn?
Mm,
Uh, so that I would call doing this strategy part, which is pretty much knowing yourself so well that you can develop a plan and a journey that number two, this is my second tip, it's evolving. Don't start from 0 to 100 in one day. It's impossible, it's overwhelming, and you will just find yourself in a place and you say, oh, I'm not good for this. Personal branding is not my stuff. I will just leave it to someone else. Like, if this is what a business is it's requiring today, I would shut down. Like, it will really freak you out. So I always tell my clients, okay, let's get to know you. Let's get also your profile, your strength, your history, your expertise. Let's build a story around you, a story that it feels natural to you as well. Like that, and for that, you need to be part of that storytelling. And then map out like all the opportunities and possibilities that you have. If you would like to write more than be on video, use that. Today, there are like so many platforms that are performing better than video that are written. Then if you liked, I don't know, audio, okay, use it as audio and figure out how to do the visuals that's not required to put your face there all the time, you know? Or use those options while you ask for help to get ready to be there. Like if you need to get a coach that can give you the confidence to be in front of camera from a different perspective, or if you have like the chance of being a speaker, and just because you feel that the stage is not for you, doesn't mean that it will never will.
mm.
So I would say it also approach it with a mindset of not yet. Okay, I'm not a video person. I'm not a speaker person. I'm not like a big crowd person, but maybe it's just not yet, and that's okay. What can you do today that you can build up until it is required for you to be there? You might be surprised, like maybe in 5 years, it's like, I love being on stage. I never imagined I would be, but I loved it. So yeah, I would say don't follow what other people's personal brands look like because it will not be you. People want to know your vision, your perspective, and what your thoughts on the topic are. They don't want to just do a blend version of other entrepreneurs or leaders or CEOs with your picture on it. They want to get to know you, but for that, first you need to get to know yourself.
Tamara, and what do you think? You collaborate and have to connect with so many different people, right? When you have a
Mhm.
client, you don't work on it alone. You work with lots of different people who sort of feed into that secret sauce that then makes up a brand. Tell us a little bit about these main learnings in connecting and collaborating and how to achieve the best outcome for a client.
I just had a similar conversation this morning about this. So it's lovely to be able to share it now. I would say the way that we collaborate in Love and Fear, it comes from a place, it comes from a very human place. So, number one, today's network, it's pretty much built upon with people that I've met in my work life, personal life, travel life for the last 15 years. So at one point in life, I had the opportunity and the privilege to actually know these talents
Mm,
beyond their work. Okay. So I also know that because we work remotely, and that's also a big challenge when it comes to creativity. It's how do we kind of like break the barriers of screens and come up with like juicy and meaningful ideas. Uh, for us, it has only been able to happen because we also know the rest of our universe, not just our works. And every time that I meet a new talent, I will just take their contact, reach out. Maybe we are starting on a video call, and if I'm in their city or like for one thing or another, we happen to be in the same event, I would love to have coffee in person with you so we can start building that relationship.
Mm,
And once that personal relationship, it's a little bit more advanced, we might be in a good place to collaborate on a work level. So I would say part of the magic that we can bring into working with brands, that humanity spark that you mentioned,
yeah.
it also comes because we share a similar vision when it comes to being like a human being today. What do we need and what do we want to bring to the table, each one of us. Um, and at the same time, I would say the beauty of our collaborators, it's diversity. Everyone comes from a different geography, different background, age. Almost no one comes from the advertising world. That's one goal that I set myself in the beginning of the project, is that I wanted to bring new voices. I wanted to bring like new sources of inspiration and knowledge. So a lot of our collaborators come from theater, writing, they're novelists or they're musicians, psychologists. Most of the designers that I work with don't do just visuals. They also come from service design, product design. I also try to visit different ecosystems of design that are new or unfamiliar on a daily basis. I was just in Lisbon this year in future design event that it was beautiful. So yeah, I would say that's kind of like the magic sauce that we bring, which is like human relationships, diversity in different levels, and then that curiosity and the third eye put on, I don't know, new places where design can live.
Mm. It's so inspiring to hear, Tamara, because we live in a time of dehumanization and
Mm.
desensitization, right? And you talk about uh, diversity and inclusivity and this art form of communication to bring as many different people to the table as possible, who then create more innovative and disruptive brands, which is very
Mhm.
inspiring. So tell us a little bit what success looks like for you, Tamara.
Wow, that's a great question. I think it's something I ask myself every year, like
Mm,
I'm very close to my birthday, so I do like a recap of what's been the last year. Um, it definitely keeps evolving. I will say success for me today, it means sometimes do like focus on maybe putting more effort in accomplish something meaningful than just get it done or meeting any metrics.
mm,
Um, Being part of the creative industry, it has a lot of challenges. One of them is that there's like a lot of offer, and it just keeps growing and it will keep growing. And I think it's like a happy problem. I come from a time and a region where that offer didn't exist. It was very limited and it was very
mm,
small. So I'm glad to see that it exploded. Um, but on the other side, I would say success for me, it's keeping committed, like keeping our engagement to put meaning in everything that we create and invite our clients not just to do one more thing for the sake of it.
mm,
Not everything is a rebranding or like a makeover, like just like if it's makeup. You need to put substance in the work that we're delivering, because also people are missing that on their daily life, you know? They don't just want more empty promises, you know, or things that just look pretty, but they're like, there was not really that promise inside. So, yeah, success for me means that if we can get, even it's to 10 clients, to 100 clients, or more people out there creating community, it's just to bring some deep thought and some, I don't know how to call this in English, but it's like bring the real flavor of life
Mm,
back in something that they're living. If it's a book, if it's a video they saw, if it's an article they read, you know, like if we can just get them to stop for 10 seconds and she's like, oh, I haven't thought about this in such a long time, you know, that it's a reconnection with who they are as human beings. Oh, I'm sold. Okay, that's success for me today. Of course, I need to align it with my, you know, business success as well, because that's what allows us to keep doing it, you know, to
yeah,
be part of more people's lives. But if we lose that, and I have, I don't know, X amount of clients and X amount of revenue, but I lose that, it's not worth it.
yeah, yeah, you said that beautifully. So give us your sort of takeaways of mentoring and being an ally to other creators. What are your main
Oh,
learnings and sharing your insights to support others, being a real ally? That's more than being a
mm,
mentor, right? You're really having
yeah,
someone's back. You're holding space for somebody else, helping them grow. You're fully on board with them.
yeah. I would say, first of all, I try to embrace it as a friendship, you know?
Mm,
Because what you say is true. Being an ally is not just being there as a plus one, you know, on the go. To create that space, to be able to support and hold sometimes someone else's journey, you need to see yourself as part of a bigger relationship, you
yeah,
know, like get out of the transactional mode. Because when you mentor, it's not about what's in there for me.
yeah.
You know, it's very kind of like altruistic. And number two, I would say the biggest lesson has been listening.
Mm,
I think the more you advance in your career, and I'm not saying I'm in any top or anything, but at least I'm not in day one. Um, I think being able to talk less and listen more, it's one of the greatest ways of leading through mentorship, or like in general, like with my collaborators and my team, it's the same. The more you're trying to build something bigger, I think the less you talk, the more opportunities you discover, and the more space for growth and improvement you can find. But it's a hard skill to develop these days, you know, because we're surrounded by talk, 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 like
yeah.
everywhere.
It
And
feels
we
as if the louder we shout, the more we will achieve, and it's not necessarily like that. Yeah.
exactly, and we have, I don't know, got to a place where our generation, it feels awkward around silence,
Mm,
you know? It's like, oh, it's too quiet.
yeah.
And suddenly we need to fill that void with talk, 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 talk again.
Mm,
And there's like very little room for creation and new ideas if someone's always talking.
mm,
So yeah, every time that I have a chance just to meet like a young creator or like anyone, I'm a very curious person about like people. So I usually get these questions like, oh, tell me a little bit about yourself. And it's always been hard because like I prefer to answer questions. I'm not used to just to like, oh, let me put the play on and tell about myself, like, oh, I find it so hard. It's like, where should I begin? It's like, do you have time? Um, but I feel like the more we listen, I've learned, it's like it just makes me a better leader,
Mm,
a better mentor, also better creative. And I try also now to bring that vision into the brand building process that we do for clients. It's your brand listening.
yeah.
Are you a listener as a brand, or are you just another talker over the room and at the end
Mm,
of the party who's screaming loudest, like s- there's this very interesting quote that I read a few months ago that it was like, if you're in during dinner and everyone seems to want to bring the attention to themselves by speaking louder during drink, and then it's just like you bring the drinks and it's like getting louder and louder, and then like the cutlery, it becomes very overwhelming and like loud, and you cannot even hear your own thoughts. And suddenly there's someone at the end of the table who's being super chill. They're not raising their voice, they're almost whispering. And of course, the people in the other side cannot listen to them, but the four people who are around him or her, they're like so into what he's saying. And he
mm.
doesn't need to yell, he's just whispering. And we believe that that's the space where connection happens, because you're not trying that hard. But
Yeah.
we need to cultivate that skill. And I admit it's hard. It's really hard.
Tamara, and what do you feel you've helped so many companies and ventures. What do you feel sort of future proofs a brand for the future that we're sort of looking at now, where with AI,
Mm,
the whole sort of design thing can just be done like that by
mm,
potentially even ChatGPT, right? You put things
yeah.
in, it'll come up with a logo and a feel and a because it's how can we ensure that the brands that we are building or we have built
Mm.
will last the test of time?
I would say that it's all in in the ingredients you put in.
Mm,
Okay, think of your brand as dinner. So you're hosting a dinner for friends, and you want to cook something special, you know? You're not just gonna pick any ingredients. And you're not just, because we could ask AI just to prep us something easy, fast, even delicious. It's not gonna have your signature. Uh, I would say the brands that will stand still after all of this, because it's just gonna keep getting faster and faster and faster.
mm,
It are the brands who are stopping now to think about the ingredients they want to put on their plate. And that's 100% a strategy. And this is where I think design is key, because we tend to think about design just from a visual perspective,
mm,
aesthetically.
mm,
But that's just one layer of like a very deep work. And it all starts with understanding the context first. Second, designers are problem solvers. Doesn't matter the discipline they work at. So basically, what design will give you, it's the right insights and inputs where you have to focus to work today in order to build for tomorrow.
mm,
So I would say brands need to have a more introspective um, action today and develop that strategy of who they want to keep to be. What do they want to keep? What do they want to change? And there's never enough time, I would say, that they put their thoughts into this. So because everyone's trying to feed the machine, like to survive out there. But if you take, even if it's just a month of really, really, really dedicating into this part, what are the ingredients you want to put in your brand? You will be able to transcend any major shift or change that we face culturally, socially, economically, politically, you name it. We have
Yeah.
so many, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say it's right there. Just put the brains on your brand. It's
Yeah.
not just about the outlook. We live in a generation that it's been raised and trained to identify when things are empty,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
And to connect with them is just to provide value. And value lives in the core of your ideas. That can only happen if you sit down with your team and your partners and your allies. And sometimes if you need to ask for help, hire a freelancer or an agency in studio and like go and learn and help them to do that process is the best investment you will ever do. Because it's not just about if your logo is a square or round or color A or color B. That's just not it. If
Mm.
then they can advise you, we should move into this direction. But because now we have solid reasons and understanding why that's the best choice, not just because you see everyone in the market is using X visual or X typography. I don't know. It's not as simple as that. Human beings, we are complex being. That's something we cannot change. Therefore, the way that we connect with each other, how we get there, it's not an easy process. It's not a three-step thing that we can all follow. It requires the time to understand who you are, the people who is behind your brand, and who are you trying to connect with, which is also people. So there's people in both sides of the equation. That's why I feel you need to sometimes stop just to organize all the things that you have on your plate. And sometimes you need to think lives out and you need to see where we need space for new things. That will be my main thought in today's brand building world.
Mm.
Everyone's doing a lot, but most of the things that are being done don't really have like a weight of meaning and a reason to exist. That's pretty much because there's never enough time to strategize properly from a place of not just aiming conversion, but aiming for connection.
Amazing, Tamara. That was amazing. So tell us your plans and goals. What do you have sort of, for
Ooh,
the end of this year and next year?
funny question. So basically, I'm focused on planning like very the three main pillars for 2026 when it comes to the studio. We're going to be in Mexico for the next few weeks. We're going to be part of Mexico Tech Week. We're trying also to teach and like provide tech brands with the knowledge of how to connect with the humans behind their products and their platforms, which is super fun. And we love that city. It's a very nice environment. And then for the rest of the year, I'm going back home to be with my family and friends for the holidays. And hopefully next year we're trying to open our first physical space where our collaborators can meet once a year. We can see face to face beyond the screen. We can co-create or also have fun, enjoy a good drink and like meaningful conversation, not just working on our deliverables, which is pretty much where our fuel comes from. The better we connect, the better we can get there and like embrace the lives of other brands. So those are my two main goals. Like Mexico, this is short term, and now for next year is just to find a location where we can host a physical space for
Mhm.
clients and
Mhm.
but also for our talents.
Incredible. Tamara, so what takeaways would you like our listeners to have from your story?
Oh, I think first, and this is something that when you reach out, really, really, really resonated with me, and I felt like I don't know, lucky to be part of this space. It's maybe not everyone in who's listening will be in the creative industry. But one thing that I think it might happen is that you are a woman somewhere. Young, middle-aged, doesn't really matter. As a female designer in a creative industry, I've always felt the challenges of being a minority, like I spent 10 years, sometimes even being the only woman in the room,
Mm,
you know? It's great that now that's changing a lot, and I'm like so happy about it. But I feel that also set some limitations and a more fixed and narrow mindset for myself
mm,
about what I was able to achieve or dream about. Okay.
yeah.
So my first takeaway of my journey would be self-confidence. Uh, it's something we don't pursue enough on an early age, on an early stage. Doesn't matter if you're in the creative industry or not, but I would believe it applies to a lot of areas, doesn't matter if you're in science or I don't know, art, you name it. And that really helped me, you know, work on that and surround myself with people who have more experience than me. And I mean, like, they just boost me. There was like, you have everything you need. Why are you doubting yourself? It was like very, I don't know, strange for them. It's like, we don't get it. And it was like, yeah, guys, you're all men, of course. Like, you're like booming in self-confidence. This is not a natural place. Not like biologically, but we are all under a cultural context, no matter where you are,
Definitely.
some more than others. So I would say reach out to your group of friends, any colleague that you think might infuse your vision with a different perspective that will maybe be that one, give you that one word that makes you trust yourself again. Take it, you
Mm,
know, because if you keep having that voice that you can only accomplish this, it will frustrate you. And at one point, it will disconnect you from the thing that you love the most or that you do the best, that you're best at it. And it's like, oh, I don't enjoy it anymore. And you don't know why. It's probably because that flame just slowly kind of like it was extinguished. So surround yourself with people that is like, hey, we love your flame. Like, let's create a
exactly.
bonfire out of it. That's thing number one. And thing number two, it's gonna be hard. Like, it's one thing that I talk a lot with my friends and colleagues is like, I'm transitioning into this role of being a founder for the last 2 years and like envisioning myself as a more executive role or a CEO role. I haven't found my words yet. Um, and and you read books and you watch podcasts and I don't know, you follow people with advice and systems and a lot of information. And it gets scary also because everyone seems to just tell the pretty part. Like if you work enough, you will make it. Like if you have the right system, it will work. Like if you do X, B, or C, like it will happen. But on a daily basis, you will feel most of the time that it's not happening.
Mm,
Because the hard part, it's bigger than the glamorous, pretty part. But
definitely.
that's usually always from the social media part. So I would say, don't worry. Like, here's one testimony that can just really tell you it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's most of the days, it's not pretty. It's not just sunshine and like milestones and like there's more problems sometimes than solutions, but it's worth it. Because when you believe in something and you can just look back and see how things are slowly moving, but they're moving, okay, it's going somewhere. So yeah, I mean, it's okay that it feels messy and not right most of the time. It's fine. It's never, no one said it was going to be easy. But that's one thing that I'm missing in today is the conversation. I come
It's
from
a
an entrepreneur
journey.
family. Yeah, I come
Mm,
from an entrepreneur family. And one thing that my parents always taught me, it's like, it's supposed to be hard.
yeah.
You know, no one said it was easy. You
Mm.
know, it's extremely hard. It's unpretty. Like they had a restaurant, they ran a restaurant for 35 years. So it's like everyone you tell this story is like, oh, a restaurant, so fun. It's like, dude, no fun. Like seriously. But once you have the passion, you embrace like all those hard parts with with joy. Like it's not a burden, but at the same time, it's not easy. So for whoever is listening and you're having that day that you're like questioning if you just like should drop it or not, I mean, try also to create a community that have a sense of reality. And they will tell you, yeah, it's hard. No worries that you're not alone. So how can we help you today?
Tamara, I'm so grateful for you to take the time to lead so powerfully by example for our listeners in terms of branding, in terms of mentoring, of being an ally, to really give people the sort of ins and outs, not only of being an entrepreneur, but also how to look at their brands, at their personal brands, their company's brands. I love when you said, who are the humans behind? Because that's exactly it.
Mhm.
Vulnerability creates connection, and connection creates brand awareness and brand loyalty, and that ultimately is what makes companies successful. So I love that you show up as a friend, as an ally, you champion diversity, you create innovation and disruption in your field, you create depth, which is often something that we're missing. And I love to leave our listeners with these questions that I think are important that I take away from this conversation. What is your reason to exist, lovely listeners? Who are the allies that stoke your flame and not extinguish it? And also, what do you need to keep and what do you need to chuck, both as a personal brand and a company's brand, to make yourself and your company future proof? So, thank you so much, Tamara.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. This has been amazing.